Hello, my name is Paul-Beckett, and today I want to talk a little bit about some of the preconceptions and kind of projections and the ideas that I think a lot of people have about self-realization. And I'll tell you why. A lot of people email me, my emails in the comments. They want to talk about the videos, they want to ask questions, and more often than not, they're on a spiritual path, and they've come across a lot of information online. They've read a lot of books. They've gone to retreats a lot of the time. They've done the whole nine yards, and they've built up into their head an idea of what it's going to be like when they realize their true nature. And it's kind of like this glorified, like this like carrot and a stick, this like achievement, this thing. And I just I don't know. I don't want to sit here pretending to be some kind of superhero on the internet, some talking head on the internet who's like above somehow, or more than. It's not that at all. So it's really funny. I spoke to a really nice guy on the email this week. And after we'd been chatting for a while, he came back with this really comprehensive email of, can I just put down a list of things I think self-realization is and things I don't think it is after speaking to you, across these emails? And I was like, yeah, sure, go for it. And he put this really, really comprehensive list together about not all self-realized people are vegetarians, not the way, like just a lot of, like, there was just a lot of things of things he built up obviously in his head, which you could completely understand, because we're all ingesting all this spiritual information online and all this. So it made me smile. It really made me smile. And I was like, he was right in all the things he was saying. I was like, but it's not going to be the same for every single one of us, because every single one of us, we're carrying different bags. And some of them we'll put down completely, and some of them maybe we're going to hold on to for a bit. And some of them, our programming was all different. Our belief systems were different. So I was like, there's not going to be like a cookie cutter, one size fits all thing, but you're also not magically going to be transported out of your life, out of this world. You're still going to be exactly in the world that you were in. You're still going to be exactly in the life that you were in, but your relationship to that life and the world around you, that's what changes. You don't become a superhero. What you gain, if you call it again, it's more of a remembrance, is this sense of peace of what you truly are, this sense of satisfaction, of fulfillment, like a wholeness. Like there's the lack that I felt before. Don't get me wrong, I could still think to myself, oh, I could do with a bit more money, or I could do with a bigger flat, or do you know what I mean? Of course, these things could still be experienced, but I don't have the hole in me anymore that feels like that thing's going to fill it. So it's my relationship to things, to experiences, to other people, to my own thoughts, my own beliefs, to the story I told myself. That's what changed. So, listen, I know we've had this golden era, of Ram Dass going to India, and Ramana Maharshi and all that, and these people living in ashrams and living in caves, this blissful, enlightened life. But if this is for all of us, then guess what? That experience is not going to be for all of us, because we live in cities, we live in towns, we live in villages, we've got children, we've got in-laws, we've got jobs. Do you know what I mean? We're not all going to go and sit in a cave in the lotus position, levitating and humming for the rest of this lifetime. I don't think there's enough caves out there. So don't romanticize it like that, and don't see it as an end. Self-realization is certainly not an ending, it's a beginning. And I know that because when I realized my true nature, yeah, peace came with it. Yeah, this feeling of fullness, this feeling of satisfaction came with it. Yeah, all of these different just understandings of things that I thought I knew before came with it. The fear of death was completely knocked out. Um, just just this warmth, this feeling of coming home, all of that. But I was still apparently here in this body. I was still dealing with the people that I was dealing with the same, in my life, the same day, the day after. My life was still here. I was still in a world where wars were happening, where this. So what I had to do is integrate to this new way of being. How do I be like this in this lifetime, which I've already built for myself? Yes, there could be changes made. How do I be like this in this world? And there is a magic to it. There is a when when um when my thoughts changed, my reality did change around me, but not to the degree of the world completely changed or my life completely changed. Of course not. But it was just my investment in it was completely different. And could you imagine? Like I always remember watching these programs on TV when I was younger. I think it was called like Candid Camera or something like that. And you'd have like this poor bugger who'd be like sent off to a fake first day at a job, but there'd be hidden cameras everywhere, and everything that could possibly go wrong would go wrong for this poor guy. And you'd see him like, oh, and then it'd go from bad to worse to worse to worse to worse. So could you imagine if that's I know life's not always like that, but imagine if that was life but you didn't know that it was all just on camera and it had all been set up for your own for you. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like the difference of me being in that situation, thinking it's my real first day at a job and I'm being secretly filmed, compared to me being in that situation and being like, oh, it's okay, this is just a program. This is just all set up. That's kind of like the difference of it. So things still happen. Things that aren't preferable will still happen, but my relationship to those things and my how I respond to those things, that's what changed. That's where the peace is. You can't expect your peace to come from outside of yourself. Things, people, situations, experiences, that's not what brings us lasting peace. Discovering the peace that we are, that's what's unshakable. That's what's permanent. I can buy better clothes. I can buy a bigger flat. I can go out with a different partner. I can go to a different place. I can do all of these things. And guess what? Like a painkiller, like a little bit of cream putting on a sore, that might seem to ease me for a little while, but it doesn't last. But this knowing of my true nature, it can't be taken away from me. It can't be taken away from me if the weather's rubbish. It can't be taken away from me if the people around me are in bad moods. It can't be taken away from me if there's loss, if there's grief. Of course, I will still feel those things. I'm still experiencing a human experience, but my relationship to it, my investment in it is completely different. So I really wanted to share this because I don't, I think it would be easy, and I've saw it a little bit in people who have spoken to me, where it's kind of like, oh, you've stepped above, or you're some kind of superhero now, or oh God, I could never be like you. What? We are one. We are one. These characters never even existed. We're just characters within a dream that the one is dreaming. So I don't want you to sit there and romanticize this to the fact of like elevating it to this idea of, oh, when this happens, everything's going to be completely different. Everything will be completely different because you are completely different, not because the external game around you will all of a sudden be like, oh, sorted. Not because the people around you will all of a sudden start behaving beautifully, impeccable manners, lovely, showing love, noble kindness and happiness. That's not going to happen. But then the plot twist is when you feel this satisfaction in yourself, you've got so much of it to give that it reflects back at you from the other people around you, from the situations around you. Life is just a mirror. So when I don't feel like I need something from it, all of a sudden it reflects my own abundance. So it's a funny one. I've said before about giving and receiving being the same thing, and I feel like I must have said it in God every video I've ever made. But it's probably one of the most important things that I've ever learned. Realized I should say I can only ever give to myself. I can only ever give to myself. That means you can only ever give to yourself. That means what you put out, you receive. What you put out, you receive. And it's such a simple concept. And let me tell you something. What this is simple. See, if you're watching videos that want to complicate it and want to make it fantastical and this, and you've got to do this, and you've got to stand on one leg in the full moon, and you've got, oh, well, that in my experience, that's not what this is about. The day I remembered, the joke was, oh my God, how obvious. The joke was that voice that I've just listened to and accepted. I've had that voice in my head since I was a baby, and I've never acknowledged it. And now the day that I've listened to it, I've gone, that was always there. That was telling me the same thing every day of my life, and I just didn't listen. It was so funny. So almost tragically funny because for the melodrama that's gone on. And I think, God, the entire time I knew that I just had this knowing in my mind that I wouldn't allow myself to look at. I didn't think I was worthy of, maybe, that I just didn't give attention to. And with just the sudden, clear remembering that I had, I was like, I've not learned something new. I've just acknowledged something that was always there. And so I'm laughing and I'm crying, and I'm laughing and I'm crying because it's just all been such like a farce in a way. Now, listen, I can say that because, this lifetime hasn't been that traumatic for me. But I know that some people are living really, really difficult lifetimes. And I don't want to negate that. I don't want to negate that and say, I'm not saying people's lives are a farce. Please don't take it that way. But the joke in this was it was this close. It's so simple. You are this and you are never anything but this. Okay. And to hear it and to conceptually hear it, you can go, oh, I understand what that means and all that. To just get it, whoa, in your heart, in yourselves, and just be like, I know that. I've always knew that. Oh my God, I've always known this. That was the gag. That was the absolute goop of it. I was like, wow, I've never been anything other than this. I've just been pretending. So I suppose I wanted to make this video so you don't ingest all of this stuff online and elevate this to something that's out of your reach, or imagine this to be some kind of like superhero experience, or to imagine that, or you're gonna realize your true nature, and then within that second the entire universe is going to go your way. You're not going to have a challenge, you're not going to have things go on. It's not in my experience. Listen, I don't know, I can't speak for other people, but I've spoken to a lot of people in the same position as me, and guess what? We all just still have our lives, and with those lives still comes challenges, and still come things that maybe you get disappointed at, or you would prefer it was a different way and all that. But as this goes on, and as you integrate and you relax into this, you realize that whatever's going on is just okay. And also, whatever's going on is perfect. It's what I needed to see. There's always something in it for me. If I'm being shown something which kind of irks me a little bit, I understand that there's still something in me that I haven't loved yet that's relating to this, something in me that I haven't released yet that's relating to this, because otherwise I'd just be aerodynamic to it. It wouldn't touch me. So perfect. It's beautiful. Show me these things. Show me these things where there might be something, that little deepest, darkest cupboard in my mind that I just haven't pulled into the light yet. And it's an ongoing process for me. It's an ongoing process, but with this baseline of peace, with this baseline of just joy for no reason, with this baseline of like just satisfaction. That's a word that just keeps on coming up for me: satisfaction, fulfillment, wholeness. There's nothing left for me to get. That's what it feels like. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that I can't still aspire to things in the world, a different job. I moved to a different country. Of course, I can do all of those things, but I understand that there's not a hole in me that thing's going to fill. Something external is going to fill for me. I'm whole within myself. So I want you to have a think about that. And I don't want you to fall into the trap of watching these videos, whether it's me or whether it's somebody else, and just imagining this fairy tale nirvana. We're still in the real world having a human experience, but our relationship to it is completely different. And this is for you. I love you. Bye.